If you've ever found yourself spiraling down a late night rabbit hole of what am I meant to do and why haven't I found it yet? And let's be honest, who hasn't? Then you're in the right place. I'm Theresa White, career clarity expert and 5-time certified career coach, and I'm here to help you navigate the question of how to find a career that truly lights you up. On Career Clarity Unlocked, we're all about those light bulb moments. I'm talking to people who are still trying to figure out what they're meant to do, coaching them live to reach that magical, yes, this is it moment. And we'll also hear from those who've already found their dream careers and figure out exactly how they did it. Whether you're looking for inspiration or actionable advice on finding a career you love, I've got you covered. Time to unlock some career clarity. Let's dive in. If you've ever found yourself spiraling down a late night rabbit hole of what am I meant to do and why haven't I found it yet? And let's be honest, who hasn't? Then you're in the right place. I'm Theresa White, career clarity expert and 5-time certified career coach, and I'm here to help you navigate the question of how to find a career that truly lights you up. On Career Clarity Unlocked, we're all about those light bulb moments. I'm talking to people who are still trying to figure out what they're meant to do, coaching them live to reach that magical, yes, this is it moment. And we'll also hear from those who've already found their dream careers and figure out exactly how they did it. Whether you're looking for inspiration or actionable advice on finding a career you love, I've got you covered. Time to unlock some career clarity. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Career Clarity Unlocked. Today, we're diving into something that is literally unfolding as we speak. And if you have a job, a business, a paycheck, or even just a favorite grocery store to go to, this affects you. Let's start it off with a quick reality check. What is going on in the US? Stock markets in free fall. Major companies, many of them dialing back hiring or full of laying off employees. And global trade in total chaos as the Orange Goblin in the White House has kicked off a full-blown trade war again. And let me tell you, this right here is not some far-off abstract political drama. I wish it were. But this is real, and it's already rippling through industries, companies, and jobs. Trump has slapped on 25 tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico because tariffs are the best thing in the world, but then he paused them because we don't really know. He's doubled tariffs on Chinese imports to 20%. China and Canada are fighting back with their own retaliatory tariffs. In the middle of it all, businesses are confused, financial markets are panicking, and jobs, well, they're suddenly looking a lot less secure. If any of this is giving you déjà vu, you're not alone. Yes, the Orange Goblin did this already in his first term, but this time it's a lot bigger, a lot messier, and creating even more uncertainty. So that's why we're here today and unpacking what exactly is happening right now. I promise there won't be any boring economic lectures, just the straight up truth about this trade war. And then we're going to really talk about how is it already affecting businesses, hiring, and paychecks. What industries are getting hit the hardest and could yours be next? And most importantly, how do you protect yourself? How do you navigate layoffs, career uncertainty, and position yourself for success even when the economy is throwing a tantrum? Actually, it's not the economy throwing a tantrum, it's the Orange Goblin in the White House. Either way, by the end of this episode, you'll walk away clear, informed, and empowered to make smart moves for your career, no matter what chaos unfolds next. So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's break it all down. And if you've been scrolling through the news this week, you might have noticed the headlines screaming about the economy. Markets tanking, businesses holding their breath. That's because the Orange Goblin has just escalated a new trade war with the world's biggest economies, and the fallout is already punching businesses and workers in the gut. We're talking major companies delaying hiring and cutting jobs. Stock plunging. Hello, worst NASDAQ drop since 2022. And prices on everyday goods They are about to skyrocket. Now, if you're sitting here thinking, okay, this all sounds really horrible, but what does this actually mean for my career? This is what we're going to be talking about today. To start off with, know that trade wars equal economic instability equals corporate uncertainty. And corporate uncertainty equals hiring freezes, job cuts, and workplace chaos. And listen, I get it. Your job, your paycheck, and your career really should not feel like a political football. But unfortunately, here we are. We are right now, hopefully not for too much longer, stuck with the Orange Goblin in the White House, and we have to do what we can, what's in our power, to take care of ourselves, of our careers, and our communities. If you're new here, I'm Theresa White, career clarity expert, and I've been helping professionals like you navigate uncertainty for over a decade. Through layoffs, recessions, and industry shakeups, I've seen firsthand how people survive, and sometimes even thrive, even when things get crazy. So today, I want to give you the inside scoop on what's really happening in real time, what it means for your job, industry, and financial future, and how to stay ahead of the storm instead of getting swept away. Because the most important piece that I want you to take away from today is that the people who see what's coming, stay adaptable, and make strategic moves. Those are the ones who don't just survive trade wars and the chaos it causes. They use them as launch pads. They turn that into a positive. And you can be one of them. All right, let's break this down. If you've been even slightly paying attention to the news, by the way, I totally get it if you can't stomach them at all right now, but then you know that we are officially knee-deep in another trade war. The Orange Goblin has reignited his old playbook, but this time it's even more aggressive, unpredictable, and impactful than before. And if you think this is just some political back and forth that won't touch your life, I don't have good news for you. This is already sending shockwaves through the economy, businesses, and yes, your job prospects. So what's actually happening? Here are the biggest headlines from the past few weeks. Trump has already slapped 25% tariffs on all imports from Canada and Mexico. Yes, the same Canada and Mexico that we rely on for everything from cars to groceries to oil. Well, tariffs, they are the bestest thing in the world, but let's delay them for a month. So right now, they are delayed. But he's doubled tariffs on Chinese imports from 10% to 20%, and China is not taking that quietly. They just hit back with their own tariffs, targeting US farm goods like soybeans, beef, and poultry. Stock markets are taking a nosedive. The Nasdaq just had its worst single-day drop since 2022. The S&P 500 is down nearly 10% from its February highs, and businesses are getting nervous. Companies are hitting pause on hiring, and some are already slashing jobs. Delta, American Airlines, and Southwest have all warned about slowing consumer demand. And Tesla had just had its worst trading session in 5 years, which I'm not surprised by. But the ripple effect, this is just the beginning that we're feeling. Now, if that does sound familiar, that's because we've been here before, right? The Orange Goblin launched a trade war in his first term, mainly targeting China, accusing them of unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. But here's why this round is a whole new beast. One, it's not just China anymore. This time, Trump is going after multiple trading partners at once: Canada, Mexico, China, and even threatening Europe and India. The tariffs are broader and deeper. We're not just talking about a few targeted goods. Trump has floated the idea of a 20% tariff on everything the US imports, which would be an unprecedented economic shock. And the economy is already on shaky ground. Last time the trade war happened in a growing economy, now we're dealing with inflation concerns, corporate budget cuts, and business already treading carefully. Right now, businesses are more uncertain than ever. The Orange Goblin's unpredictability is making it nearly impossible for companies to plan ahead. One minute he's raising tariffs, the next he's pausing them for a month, as we just saw with the temporary halt on Mexico and Canada's auto tariffs. This whiplash effect is real. So how is all of that impacting the economy in real time? First of all, stock markets are freaking out. The markets hate uncertainty, and this trade war is serving this up in large doses. The Nasdaq dropped 4% in a single day, wiping out billions in market value. And Tesla's stock has plunged 45% this year as Elon Musk's political alliances and the trade war spook investors. That one I'm actually not that sad about. And my favorite, have you seen the Tesla bumper stickers? One of them is, I bought this before we knew Elon was crazy. We got the anti-Elon Tesla Club. You can get the Tesla owners against Musk. Since resale value on Teslas has plummeted, you might want to look into one of those stickers in case you own a Tesla. Moving on, companies that dropped on global trade, like Nvidia, saw stock prices nosedive amid concerns over supply chain disruptions and tariffs on imported components. Next up, supply chains are a mess. If you thought supply chain disruptions were bad during the pandemic, you've seen nothing. Tariffs don't just mean higher prices, they mean major headaches for businesses that rely on imported materials and parts. Automakers are scrambling because Trump is playing a game of on again, off again tariffs with Mexico and Canada, leaving the industry in limbo. Tech companies are sweating because many components for semiconductors, batteries, and even basic electronics come from China. Retailers are bracing for impact because higher import costs mean they'll have to choose between raising prices or eating the cost. Spoiler alert, most of the cost is going to be eaten by the consumer. And businesses are holding their breath. When companies don't know what the next move is, they usually freeze. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Hiring freezes are spreading. Businesses are putting off hiring new employees until they know how bad this trade war is going to get. Next, layoffs are already starting. In addition to the gut-wrenching federal layoffs, we see companies that rely on exports or imported goods are cutting jobs as they brace for financial turbulence. And small businesses are panicking. Many small companies rely on global suppliers, and these tariffs could crush their already tight margins. And let's not forget about us consumers. When prices start rising due to tariffs, people spend less. When people spend less, businesses make less money. And when businesses make less money, they cut jobs. It's a domino effect that could lead to a full-blown recession if things escalate further. Remind me again, what of this is making America great again? I'm sorry, I still don't get it. So here's where we stand. The Orange Goblin has gone all in on tariffs, and it's already causing economic chaos. Stocks are dropping, businesses are nervous, and hiring is slowing. Supply chains are getting tangled and prices are likely to climb. And that brings us to the big question. How is this already affecting jobs? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about headlines or market trends. That's not why we're here today. It's about real people trying to keep their careers on track in the middle of all this madness. So let's talk about that next. All right, now that we've set the stage for what's happening with this trade war, let's talk about the industries that are already feeling the squeeze. Because if you think this is just something that will show up in government reports or corporate boardrooms, unfortunately not. It's already here and it's hitting jobs, prices, and entire industries hard. So let's break this down again industry by industry so you know exactly who's in the hot seat. First of all, the auto industry. Tariffs are paused, but trouble is brewing. Let's start with the auto industry, because if you've been eyeing a new car or work anywhere near the manufacturing, this is going to be a bumpy ride. And I promise you, we're going to get to better news later in this episode. Hang in there with me. So Trump initially threatened a 25% tariff on all car imports from Canada and Mexico, which, let's be honest, would have been an absolute disaster for American automakers. We're talking about an industry where supply chains are so tightly woven across North America that a tariff on any one country causes chaos for the whole system. At the last minute, Trump paused those tariffs, giving automakers a temporary sigh of relief. But don't even think that the threat is gone. He's made it clear that if Canada and Mexico don't meet his demands on border security and trade, those tariffs could hit as early as next month. So what does that mean? First, automakers are still holding off on hiring because they don't know what's coming. Next, the cost of vehicles is already creeping up as manufacturers prepare for potential tariffs. And the ripple effect on suppliers, which is everything from steel and aluminum companies to car part manufacturers, means job losses in auto-adjacent industries. And then let's not forget that Trump just doubled tariffs on steel and aluminum to 25%, a move that will jack up costs for car manufacturers and supplies, making it harder for them to stay profitable without cutting jobs. The bottom line, even though the auto tariffs are on pause, the uncertainty is already doing damage. And if you work in this industry, now's the time to start thinking about your backup plan. You better start thinking today. You got it. Speaking of industries already feeling the pain, let's talk about manufacturing and tech next, because they're both getting hit and hard. The tech sector, which relies heavily on global supply chains, is already feeling the fallout from Trump's 20% tariffs on Chinese imports and Chinese retaliation. Let's look at some of the biggest names getting caught in the crossfire. Well, here's some good news. Tesla is down by 45% since January. Why? It's struggling with tariffs on imported materials from China and losing customers in key international markets due to the Orange Goblin's policies and his best friend Musk. Layoffs are already happening. But sorry, but not sorry, I'm not feeling bad for Tesla. Nvidia took a 5% hit in one day as investors panic over the trade war's impact on semiconductor supply chains. Southwest Airlines and Delta both just lowered their revenue projections, blaming economic uncertainty and reduced travel demand. And it's really not just the giants. Smaller manufacturing firms are being hit even harder. Factories that rely on Chinese materials now have to pay more for their supplies, forcing them to either eat the cost, which destroys profits, or pass it on to the customers, which destroys demand. Either way, layoffs and hiring freezes are becoming the go-to survival strategy. And who can blame them? And for tech, Silicon Valley is definitely not immune. China just banned exports of key high-tech materials to the US. Thanks a lot. The semiconductor industry is bracing for shortages, which could hit jobs and innovation hard. Startups and mid-sized tech firms are struggling to secure funding thanks to all the market instability. So if you're in manufacturing or tech, your job security is already on shaky ground. Better get ready now than when it's too late. Now, let's talk about something that affects everyone's wallet: food prices. China just slapped 15% tariffs on major American agriculture exports, including chicken, pork, soybeans, and beef. These aren't just small niche markets. China is one of the biggest buyers of US farm goods. And when those tariffs hit, farmers don't just lose a buyer. They lose billions in revenue, which then trickles down to farm workers. Fewer crops mean fewer jobs. Truckers and distributors, less product to move means less work. In grocery stores and restaurants, this is the one all of us are impacted by. Higher wholesale costs mean higher prices for consumers. The last time Trump waged a trade war, his tariffs on China led to US farmers losing over $27 billion in sales. This time, it's shaping up to be even more. And you will feel this at the grocery store. I wish I could tell you otherwise, but higher tariffs mean higher food costs. So even if your job isn't directly affected, all our bank accounts definitely will be. And finally, let's talk about the small businesses caught in the middle of this economic storm. While big corporations might have the resources to weather a trade war, small businesses often don't. Retailers that are relying heavily on imported goods, they are paying higher prices now. Local manufacturers using foreign materials, they are struggling big time to stay competitive. And restaurants sourcing food from impacted farms, they are dealing with rising costs. And let's not forget that when big companies cut jobs, small businesses suffer too, because fewer employed people means fewer customers spending money at local businesses. Uncertain markets means banks tightening loans for small business growth. Basically, it's a domino effect, and small businesses are often the first to fall. If any of you can explain to me how this is making America great again, please let me know, because this is not adding up for me. So now that we know who's feeling the pressure first, let's talk about what this means for you and how to navigate career uncertainty. Because here's the thing, knowing what's happening is the first step. But the real question is, how do you stay ahead of the storm? And that's exactly what we're going to cover now. Now let's talk about the most important part. How do you protect your career when the economy feels like it's on a roller coaster with no seatbelts? We've covered that trade wars create economic uncertainty. Economic uncertainty makes businesses cautious, and when businesses get cautious, layoffs happen. But now we're switching from all the bad news to the good news. Because not everyone gets laid off, and not everyone struggles. Some people actually use times like this to level up their careers. So let's dive into exactly how you can stay ahead of the chaos, make yourself layoff-proof, and even turn this mess into an opportunity. We're going to start with assessing how much risk you are actually facing. Because the reality is, some industries are in way more danger than others. We're going to divide this up into high risk, medium risk, and low risk industries. Let's start with the high risk industries, aka start updating your resume and LinkedIn ASAP. Those industries include manufacturing. Trade restrictions are driving up costs and cutting into profits, so some factories will shut down or relocate. Next, retail. If stores rely on imported goods, they will have to raise prices or shut down entirely. Next is agriculture and food production. If China stops buying US farm products, farmers lose money, which means farm-related jobs get cut. Then there's airlines and travel. As corporate travel slows, so does revenue. Southwest and Delta have already issued warnings. Next is tech and electronics. Companies relying on international supply chains, Hello, Nvidia, Tesla, are already struggling. Now we're moving on to the second bucket, our medium risk industries, aka keep your options open. Those include construction and real estate. Lumber and steel tariffs will increase costs, and if demand slows, job cuts could follow. Finance and banking. If the market keeps dropping, banks may pause hiring or cut roles. And then there's education and nonprofits. As businesses tighten budgets, donations and funding are shrinking. Last but not least, low-risk industries, aka breathe easy but still stay prepared. Our low-risk industries include healthcare. People always need medical care, trade war or not. Then there's cybersecurity and AI. These jobs are in such high demand and aren't directly impacted by tariffs. And the next one I'm going to say with lots of caution, government and defense. This sector traditionally used to be very stable, but as we've seen in 2025, even the most stable federal jobs are not that secure, and federal cutbacks could affect more roles. Now, if you're in a high-risk industry, it is time to get proactive, which brings me to the next point. It is your career insurance strategy. So let's say you're in a high-risk or medium-risk industry. How do you protect yourself? First thing you gotta do is you gotta make yourself indispensable, because the layoffs usually hit the least essential employees first. You want to be the person they cannot afford to lose. And here's how you do that. First, you take on extra projects. The more areas you contribute to, the harder you are to replace. But be cautious and strategic here. Don't say yes to every project. You want to go for strategic, visible projects where you can make a significant impact that allow you to expand your skills, your visibility, and your impact. More work doesn't necessarily make you less dispensable, but more higher level strategic work, that makes you indispensable. Next is you want to look for solving big problems. Find a way to save your company money, increase efficiency, or boost sales. And you got to show leadership. Even if you're not a manager, act like one. Be the go-to person for solutions. Next one, you got to get visible. When layoffs happen, decision makers choose who stays and who goes. If they don't know you or don't think you're a key player, you're at risk. You have to start speaking up in meetings, share insights, ask smart questions, and make sure your contributions are noticed. Then you also make sure you document your wins. Keep track of how you're adding value and make sure your boss and your boss's boss know about it. And strengthen your relationships. I can't say this one enough. Build solid connections with your manager, team, and leadership. Third, have a backup plan. Even if you love your job, never rely on this one source of income. Start by building an emergency fund. Aim for at least 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. Then keep your resume and LinkedIn updated. You do not want to scramble and start doing this when a layoff is coming your way. And don't forget to build your network. If you do these things, you'll be in a much stronger position than most other people. Now, what if your industry is at risk and you're thinking, yeah, I need a plan B? That already right there is a smart move. So let's now talk about recession-proof career pivots. Here are some high-growth, future-proof fields that aren't tied to trade wars. Starting with tech and AI. Companies are always looking for people in cybersecurity, data analysis, cloud computing, AI, and machine learning. Those are very secure roles. Then we have healthcare and wellness. These jobs are safe no matter what happens. Think nursing and medical tech roles, physical and occupational therapy, and of course, mental health counseling. Seriously, we need therapists more than ever right now in this country, with anxiety being at an all-time high nationwide. And finance and business strategy. Economic uncertainty means companies really need experts in risk management, business consulting, and corporate finance. Plus, skilled trade and remote work. Hands-on jobs are always in demand, and remote work, good news here, is still thriving. Electricians and plumbers, digital marketing, e-learning, coaching, all of those are really great industries to get into. And if you're considering shifting into one of those industries, start learning new skills now before any of this gets any worse. And listen, if you take nothing else from this episode, I want you to remember just this. Your network and your skills are your greatest career insurance. Your network and your skills are your greatest career insurance, period. Because most jobs aren't posted online. They are filled through referrals. You got a network to get those. Hiring managers trust connections. If someone recommends you, you skip the line. You got a network. The right skills equal job security. The more versatile your skills, the more valuable you are. Hence, upskilling. So, now how to strengthen your network today? One easy way to do this is by reconnecting with old colleagues. Simply reach out with a quick, hey, how have you been? Been thinking about you, would love to catch up message. Also attend industry events, in person or virtual, to make new connections. And engage on LinkedIn, comment on posts, share insights, and show that you are active in your field. And if you can, find a mentor, someone who's been through what you're going through and can give you game-changing insights and advice on how to move forward in your career. Next, let's cover how to future-proof your skills. The great news is that there's so many fantastic online courses on Udemy, Coursera, and LinkedIn Learning. And even industry-specific YouTube channels have fantastic information. You can also join professional groups on Facebook, Slack, or LinkedIn communities. And then I recommend to practice real-world skills. Whenever you learn something, don't just learn it, but apply it. Networking and skill building might not seem crazy urgent for you right now, but I promise you, when layoffs are rolling, you do wish that you started sooner. So, make a plan to start today. Now we've covered how to protect yourself, make smart career moves, and future-proof your skills. But what about your mindset? Because let's be honest, this all is stressful. And actually, stressful doesn't even do it justice. I don't even have a word for how this economic chaos, the social chaos, the political disaster in the US are impacting all of us right now. So in this next section, we're diving into something just as important: how to stay sane, focused, and clear-headed when the economy is spinning out of control. Because stress and fear won't help you, but strategy and clarity will. So let's talk about that. Whew. We've covered a lot today. We talked about the chaos of this trade war, the industries getting hit, and how to protect your career. But now let's talk about something just as important. How to find clarity when the world feels like spinning out of control. One big thing to keep in mind is that uncertainty isn't going to go away. Markets will rise and fall. Companies will adjust. Tariffs will be threatened, paused, and reintroduced, and a lot more chaos that we can't even predict just yet. But your career, your future, and your peace of mind, those are all within your control. And the people who come out on top, they don't let chaos paralyze them. They use it as fuel to make powerful strategic moves. So let's talk about how you can do that. Starting with a strategy I call being really clear on your career North Star. Okay, so what's your career North Star? This is your long-term vision that guides your career decisions, no matter what's happening in the economy. It's what keeps you focused when everything around you is shifting. Here's how to find yours. Start by asking yourself, where do I want to be in 5 years? And not just in terms of job titles, but about what kind of work excites you? What makes you come alive? What skills do you want to master? What kind of impact do you want to have? Then identify the skills, connections, and experiences you need to get there. And if your dream job doesn't depend on one company or one industry or one economic trend, you've got career insurance. And then commit to small, consistent moves in that direction. Even if today's job market is shaky, you can still start learning a new skill. You can start building relationships in your target industry, and you can take on projects that get you closer to your goals. But when you have this clear North Star, you don't get lost in the noise. You make decisions based on where you're going, not just where you're right now. And in times of uncertainty, that is going to be your superpower. Now let's talk mindset, because when uncertainty hits, most people react in one of 2 ways. 1, fear and paralysis. They freeze up, avoid making decisions, and hope things magically get better. I'm honestly hoping for that too, but I'm losing more hope by the day. 2, strategy and action. They use uncertainty as motivation to get ahead. I want you to be in that second group. And to do that, here are 3 mindset shifts that you need to adopt. 1, stop waiting for stability, build your own. A lot of people think, well, I'll make a career move when things settle down. Here's the problem. Things may not settle down for years. The economy, the job market, the trade war, they all keep changing. But you still don't have to stay stuck. The people who thrive are the ones who create their own stability by constantly adapting and growing. Second, focus on what you can control. There's a lot of things we can't control. We can't control what the Orange Goblin is going to do next. We can't control if your company freezes hiring. We can't control whether the market rebounds tomorrow or not. But there are things you can control. You can control the skills you learn. You can control the connections you build. And you can control the career moves that you make. The second you shift your focus to what you can do, you take your power back. And the third is seeing disruption as a launch pad. Every big career opportunity is disguised as uncertainty. Some of the biggest companies were started during recessions. Some of the most successful people made their biggest career shifts during economic downturns. Why? Because while everyone else was panicking, they were taking action. Instead of thinking, this trade war is ruining my career, try asking, how can I use this to my advantage? Could this be your chance to switch to a high-growth industry? Could you finally start that side business or freelancing gig? Could you take advantage of layoff severance to pivot into something bigger? Uncertainty is not the enemy. It's an invitation to get creative, take control, and make bold moves. But I know you might still be thinking, shouldn't I just write this out and wait for things to settle? No, 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 no. Now is actually the best time to get proactive. First of all, companies are right now reassessing their talent needs. With industries shifting, businesses are looking for people who bring fresh skills and adaptability. If you show up as the person who is ready for what's next, you will be ahead of the competition. Second, the job market is shifting fast. The roles that are in demand today might not be in demand 2 years from now. If you start learning future-proof skills right now, you will be ahead when the next wave of hiring picks up. And third, this could be your opportunity to make a big move. Sometimes the best career shifts happen when people are forced to rethink their path. Instead of seeing this trade war as a crisis, see it as your chance to level up. So what can you do right now to get proactive? First of all, update your LinkedIn and resume. Even if you're not job hunting, those two documents always gotta be ready and updated. Then start learning an in-demand skill. Take an online course in data analytics, AI, marketing, whatever moves you closer to your career North Star. Next, strengthen your network. Reach out to old colleagues, mentors, and industry leaders. And then think about your next step. Where do you want to be 6 months from now? And what action can you take today to get there? And at the end of the day, clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from action. So even in the middle of all this economic chaos, you now have a choice. You can either sit back, panic, and hope things get better, or you can get strategic, take control, and set yourself up for success, no matter what happens next. And trust me, the people who make moves now, they're going to be the ones thriving in 6 months, a year, and beyond. So my question for you is, what is your next move? You now know that the trade war is here and it's already shaking up industries. You know that some jobs are at higher risk than others, but you can take steps to protect yourself. You know that layoff proofing, skill building, and networking are your best defenses. And you've learned that uncertainty isn't something to fear, it's something to leverage. And now it is time for action. And here's the good news. You don't have to figure this out alone. If you're feeling stuck, stressed, or simply unsure about your next career move, I am here to help, and I'm teaching a free masterclass for you. I will show you how to take control of your future, navigate the shifting job market, and position yourself for a career that prioritizes you, not just the bottom line. Because no matter what's happening politically, you deserve to thrive. Make sure to grab your free spot today for Start Your Career Change in 3 simple steps, and let's build a career that works for you. The link to the masterclass is in the show notes. And listen, do not put this off. The job market is shifting fast, and the people who move now will be the ones in control 6 months from now. So grab your spot and let's get you clear, confident, and ready to navigate this madness like a pro. Oh, and if you got value from this episode, share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Let's make sure that nobody's career gets blindsided by all of this devastating chaos. And that's a wrap on today's episode. If this helped you, make sure to also subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave a review. It seriously helps more people find this show. Next week, I have a very special treat for you, and that is to step into a live career clarity coaching session with an engineer turned life coach who is wondering what's next for her in her career. Until then, keep taking action, keep moving forward, and remember, your career is in your hands. See you next time on Career Clarity Unlocked. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Career Clarity Unlocked. If you're feeling stuck in that what's next spiral and are ready to finally break free, let's chat. You can book your free Career Clarity call where we'll uncover what's really important to you, tackle any obstacles holding you back, and map out your best next step. Schedule your free 30-minute call today on careerbloomcoaching.com. And before you head out, be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so you never miss an episode. If today's conversation gave you new insights and inspiration, please leave a review. It really helps us reach more amazing listeners like you. And don't forget to share this episode with a friend or on social media. Your support truly means the world. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Career Clarity Unlocked. If you're feeling stuck in that what's next spiral and are ready to finally break free, let's chat. You can book your free Career Clarity call where we'll uncover what's really important to you, tackle any obstacles holding you back, and map out your best next step. Schedule your free 30-minute call today on careerbloomcoaching.com. And before you head out, be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so you never miss an episode. If today's conversation gave you new insights and inspiration, please leave a review. It really helps us reach more amazing listeners like you. And don't forget to share this episode with a friend or on social media. Your support truly means the world. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.